In this video, I'm going to be sharing the biggest mistakes that new and even experienced 3D artists make. Now, for those of you who don't know, I've been doing 3D since I was around 14 years old, specifically in Blender. And over this period, I've learned a lot not only about the entire 3D space in general, but also the biggest mistakes that I made and see other people making as well. Now, this video won't be some holy grail that triples your skill set overnight, but what it will do is make you cognizant of the areas of which you may be making mistakes or spending too much time, or even just not thinking properly. Now, the 80-20 rule states that 80% of results come from 20% of the input or something like that. But basically, a lot of you are probably focusing on the small stuff that won't really make a massive dent in your overall goals. So let's start with number one, which is stressing too much over topology. You see, ever since the dawn of time in 3D, we've been ingrained that topology is going to make or break our 3D work. Even when I got started, I was watching the old school videos, learning sub-D modeling techniques, and most of those videos are still around and getting tons of views. Now, that isn't to say there's anything wrong with a sub-D modeling approach, but rather that it can be a massive waste of time if that modeling style isn't required for your goals. You see, I've spoken with plenty of VFX artists, animators, and people like this, and what I can say for sure is that if you're in these fields, you're probably going to want to focus specifically on clean topology, specifically with quads, because for these fields it's, well, required. But I also see a ton of 3D concept artists or people getting into the games industry stressing too much over getting clean quad-based topology. Now, if that's what you're doing, it won't hurt you, but it might waste a lot of your time. You see, if you're modeling some complex, detailed mesh and plan to bake that geometry onto a low poly version, as a simple example, you would be wasting all your valuable creative energy attempting to model that high poly version with clean quad-based topology. Instead, a much more practical approach is to use quicker workflows such as a Boolean workflow with a specific focus on clean shading rather than perfect topology. Now, in a situation like this, you'll not only have more versatility in your workflow as well as creative freedom, but also the ability to save time that you would have originally invested into getting clean geometry. So I encourage you, whether you're a beginner or even experienced 3D artist, to really sit and think, what workflow is required for what you are doing? What is ideal? How can I find that nice middle ground to save me time and give me the most creative freedom as possible? Because the truth is, stressing too much about the technicals and topology can absolutely destroy your creative freedom if it isn't a required workflow for your specific pipeline. Clean topology is important, but isn't always required, so pick your battles. Now, number two is not being portfolio oriented. Now, look, I understand that not everyone wants to work in the 3D industry and that some of you are just doing it for fun, but what I do know is that every single human being has an innate interest in receiving attention for their work. That's just the truth of human nature. So whether you want to make a living in the space or not, being portfolio oriented is what is going to help bring that attention to you and even help you pick up work and make some money. Intuitively, most people know a good portfolio is important for receiving that attention, but they don't actually put work into their portfolio. Now, I know some people are probably yelling saying, but Josh, I do put work into my portfolio. I've been uploading for years and I have a massive portfolio. And that may very well be true, but the question is your portfolio getting the attention you actually want? If you're being truly honest with yourself and the answer is yes, then keep on doing what you're doing. But for many of you, that answer is probably no. So even if you're putting work into your portfolio and uploading consistently, that doesn't mean you're actually portfolio oriented. I could whip up a design in 2 minutes, half-ass the lighting and composition, and put in a little bit of post-processing work and upload that result to my portfolio. So yes, in that case, I am focused on my portfolio, but I'm not portfolio oriented because I'm not actually uploading high-quality work. And this may be the case for some of you if you're not getting the results you want. It is incredibly important that you focus on the entire package, not just one thing. That means your modeling, designs, visual balance, elements, composition, framing, and probably the most important one for your renders, which is lighting. All of these elements come together to create pieces that will get you engagement, but if some of these are missing, you can upload to your portfolio every day and things probably won't change. So make sure you're actually portfolio oriented, because some of you think you are, when in fact, some of the most important elements in your portfolio are missing. Now, we have plenty of tutorials on pretty much every aspect of design, lighting, modeling, and everything in between, and they're all free on our channel. We also have both free and paid products over on our website to help facilitate this process of building your portfolio. So it just depends on the time you want to save to get to your destination. So whether you watch our free YouTube tutorials or purchase some of our more focused courses over on blenderbros.com, just make sure you are indeed portfolio oriented. It is incredibly important. And last but not least is mindset. If you're too lazy to seek out solutions to get the tools that will make your workflow more efficient and professional, then just leave and unsubscribe from my channel now, because I want to help people that actually help themselves. Now, most of my tutorials use paid tools. That is no surprise, but you don't need to use the tools I use. There are plenty of alternatives out there that you simply might prefer for your own personal workflow. It's less about the tools you use and more about the time certain tools will save you. So for example, if over the period of a year I can spend $40 to save 1,000 hours of work time, I am always going to do that. It just makes sense. I always view tools as a value proposition. I look at the price, then I look at the potential time it will save me, and then I assess if the price versus potential time saved is worth it. I do know that pretty much everyone watching this would never explicitly work for 4 cents per hour, but with the example above, assuming you didn't get the tools that save you 1,000 hours of work, that is basically what you would be doing indirectly. If you absolutely refuse to buy the tools that are going to save you time and get the job done more efficiently, just unsubscribe and dislike the video now. You're probably not a good fit for my channel. But for those of you that get the tools you need to get the results you want, stick around and find some content you like. So these are the 3 major mistakes I see 3D artists making. It generally boils down to the basics: concerns over topology, portfolio orientation, and operating with a limited belief mindset. If you can change these 3 things, I guarantee you'll begin to see much more improvement within your 3D work. Like with anything, as you start to receive positive feedback loops, you get more and more motivated and work harder and harder to the point where you're simply outworking your competition and getting the results you want. So if you work on these 3 things, you'll begin to see more and more positive results, which is exactly what I want for you. So thanks for watching. Hope this video helped, and I'll see you in the next one.